Giga Texas is already bigger than every Denny's combined, and it's 77% done. I'm Brian. Welcome to My Tesla Weekend. That can't be right, can it? Well, let's take a look. There are how many? 1,702 Denny's locations worldwide, and each one is 3,600 to 5,000 square feet. Split the difference, that's 4,300 square feet, 399 square meters, for a total of 7.4 million square feet, 679,000 square meters. Giga Texas had that much floor space framed up by June 28th. So that's kind of fun. Kind of a lot of work to find an example that fit and made sense, but nice. This week looked a tad slower than we've seen lately, but that's because it was, at least in terms of the main structure. So let's look at the progress graph. The site prep is still at 95%, yes, and the footings haven't budged either. There's a ton of work underway in the central corridor, the last big area left to build, so these numbers should jump in the next week or two. That'll be exciting. And to put the big question to bed, it does appear that this entire area will be factory space. The concrete walls beside the stamping cathedral were not a clue, but a red herring. Much of Giga Berlin has interior concrete walls as well, so this isn't out of the ordinary. For the second time in 19 weeks, the framing barely increased, since there are very few remaining footings on which to build. But we can see pretty clearly what's left and reasonably guess when it's likely to happen. Soon. It will happen soon. The site's overall progress remained steady, though fell a tad behind what we've seen recently due to, there not being many areas left to work on all at once. The roof coverage took a small jump over the recent pace, which is nice, and it helped keep the overall site on track, but like the framing, we're kind of running out of areas to cover, so this may be slowing down very soon. The interior completion had a nice week, as we slowly count 1/17 of the squares closed off each week, and while this number didn't jump, because it kind of can't with the way it's smoothed, it was the biggest week yet for closing off space, which will help over the coming weeks. There's still an awful lot of walls left to go, so we may continue seeing big jumps here for the next month or so. So, quick question, with so much of the visible to-do checklist checked off, how much progress do you think we'll see on next week's update? The usual 1%-ish? Or somewhat more or less than that? Let me know. Once the windows go up along the west side, the interior will get to count a lot of squares, and some parts where the windows account for a more normal percentage of the walls will be counted as they go up as well. The next few weeks should see a lot more walls going up, completion of the small areas that haven't been finished yet, and major work going on in the central corridor. I mean, that's kind of everything though, isn't it? Once construction begins on other parts of the site, those will be tracked as well. I've been asked to make a tracker for the Berlin battery building, and I'm considering doing that, but it would take a lot of hours to launch, and I just don't know how much interest there is. So if you have thoughts on that, share it below, because, I can do it, it's just, it takes a bit of work to get the model started. So let's take a look at the site map for this week and get on to the timeline predictions, but allow me to thank my Patreons who get early access, bonus material, an ad-free experience, and keep the channel running for as little as $1 a month. Welcome to Crunch. So this is the site map as of August 23rd. And now let's roll it back as we do to December 14th and go through it a week. To understand the site map, this is the overall footprint of the main building. The orange is the footings, with the darker orange being heavier footings. The gray is the framing work, with the darker gray indicating roof sections. In blue, you see the finished interior closed-off space, with darker blue indicating more floors. Yes, we track the floors. So the darker the blue, the more floors that there are. The black lines indicate a firewall or expansion joint, with the heavier black lines indicating a concrete wall. As a reminder, this only counts the main Emerald building and not any of the other projects on the site, since we haven't been able to determine their eventual size. Mad thanks to Jeff Roberts for allowing use of his amazing drone footage. So here it is, and here you go. As of August 23rd, Giga Texas, the future birthplace of Yo Cybertruck, is 77% done and will be complete, for lack of a better word, in a total of 518 days from groundbreaking on or about December 21st of this year, though with some work still continuing inside. This is a slip of a few days from last week's numbers, but, not a big deal. It's mostly a 2-floor structure, as you can see, with over 8.5 million square feet framed up, which is 795,000 square meters, a very small increase from last week, but that's to be expected since they're running out of work to do. What isn't captured in this tracker is the sheer amount of work going on elsewhere on the site. There's a lot of road work that's been finished, a big parking area full of chargers on the west side, and something going on almost everywhere here, almost every week. Thanks to those of you who joined the live stream last Friday, where we talked about AI Day and the announcement of a big project at Tesla where they will be building their own clever robots. That was serendipitous. And a heads up that there will be another live stream this Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific as well, so subscribe if you haven't to get notified, follow me on Twitter at 4K Podcast, and smack the thummy thing in either direction if you made it this far. So, what did I miss or misunderstand? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below, and as always, my friends, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I simply cannot wait to hear from you humanoid clever robots as the channel approaches 10,000 subscribers. Who are all you amazing people? All right. See you soon.